It starts small. A tightness in your neck, a tug in your shoulders, maybe a low ache that comes and goes. You stretch, shift in your chair, and keep going. But what if that minor discomfort is your body trying to tell you something? Orthopedic spine surgeon Dr. Rahul Shah says understanding pain starts with understanding how the body works as one connected system.
The way the body moves in general is to think about it as the head pivots over the shoulders or the torso, and the torso pivots over the pelvis. And so wherever those pivots are, they can potentially become affected. And whatever is susceptible in the different age groups, you'll see different things. So in younger folks, you might have problems with the growth of those areas. So scoliosis is a little bit more problematic there. And then younger athletes may have problems where they overstress where the low back meets the pelvis, and you might have problems in the low back area with subtle fractures. And then as we all get older, areas that move tend to wear out. We've experienced this with our hands when our knuckles get a little bit stiff, or our knees when they get stiff. And the same thing can happen inside the back.
The neck and back are the pivots that keep the body in balance. When one part moves out of alignment, the rest compensates. And that's when small strains can grow into chronic issues. Shah also touches on how the nerves in our body play into this.
Whatever happens in the back, if it just affects the areas where the movement occurs, then you'll just have stiffness or pain in that area. But if it starts to travel, it can travel along the areas of where the nerves go. And so that pain can sometimes spread to areas of the shoulder blade, the arms, the low back, or the legs. And so those are all the sort of things that I see.
One growing condition in teens and older adults alike is tech neck. It's all too easy to fall into a bad habit of always looking straight down and slumping in a chair while using your phone. In 2023, the average millennial spent about 4.5 hours per day on their device. For Gen Zers, this number was about 6 hours, according to a poll conducted by Harmony Healthcare IT. Shah says that when he sees patients with neck and back problems, it's hard to trace it back to one specific culprit. However, he says this reliance on tech is definitely not helping.
Looking or scrolling on our phones, which seems to be our most favorite pastime these days. We look at Instagram Reels and things of that nature, or TikTok videos. We're typically not looking at it, just while we're walking and things of that nature. We're typically sitting down or hunching forward, etc. And that kind of tends to cause the head to crane forward over the shoulders. And so all the stuff inside the neck may experience additional load. Now, if those areas are already fragile or wearing out, that additional load can take people over the edge and take areas that are not so symptomatic and make them more symptomatic.
This strain can lead to stiffness, spasms, or even nerve pain that radiates into the shoulders or back. He uses this analogy to help illustrate the progression of pain over weeks, months, or even years.
When you're moving your head over your shoulders, it's moving through a bunch of hinges. So think of like the hinges like they're stacked on a door. When the hinges don't work right, the first thing the door starts to do is it starts to creak. That means that's the snap, crackle, pop that you may feel in the neck or the low back. Next thing that happens is that sometimes those hinges jam up on you because they're not working right. So you got to muscle that door to get it back in the hinge. That's the spasms or the muscle pains that you might get. And then if those areas are too overloaded or things are getting too affected, particularly on the hinges, the wires that run next to the hinge can cause different lights to flicker. And that's the nerve problems we're talking about that you may experience into the shoulder blade or into the arms. So the technology itself may or may not be causing the hinges to have a problem, but they may be increasing the load that the hinges see because the head is craned in a position or the torso is craned in a position that overdoes that challenge skills balance that the areas that are affected, those hinges that are affected, experience.
This gradual progression is why early awareness matters. While we can't eliminate screens from our lives, we can build in routines that help our bodies better withstand this extra strain.
One of the things is preconditioning. So in folks that have prolonged technology use, let's say you're going to be on the computer for a fair bit, and that's something it's good to build in structures and systems into your day so that it's automatic, so that you're primed to be able to receive those extra loads. What that means is that you want to get those muscles sort of pre-charged, if you will, so that they're able to handle the extra load that they see as compared to being overloaded all at once. What that looks like in practice is really starting to get the blood flow to those muscles and then potentially getting those muscles to have a bit more load that they can sort of get through. That may look like initially walking for 20 to 30 minutes at a time, try and get the heart rate up into that zone 2 or zone 3 area so that you're able to really increase the blood flow to those areas so the muscles are primed to be able to hold the head in a reasonable position so that they're not being overstressed when you're having to do technology.
Essentially, movement builds resilience. Even short walks or brief stretches can increase blood flow and strengthen supporting muscles. For those wanting to do more, light strength training can also go a long way in preventing future problems. Shaw breaks down how the weight you put on your muscles during strength training leads to stronger muscles.
You essentially break down the muscles a little bit, not too much, but a little bit such that they're able to recover. And when they recover stronger than when they were before because your body's naturally adapting to those stressors. So stressors are actually good. And so what are some of the things that you can do for strength training? Well, when it comes to the neck and that area, there's over 300 muscles within the neck, but it's difficult to individually strengthen all of them. So basic exercises, including isometric exercises, where you put your hand over your forehead and you press forward. Head doesn't move, your hand doesn't move, but that you're increasing that stress that the back of the muscles of the neck are seeing. Do the same thing with putting your arms behind the back of your head and pushing backwards. Again, not moving, but generating that muscle over the right ear, over the left ear. And doing that in a progression a few times a day can certainly help activate the blood flow.
He also highly recommends leaning into yoga and Pilates. Integrating these activities into your routine just 2 or 3 times a week will naturally help your muscles stretch and strengthen, because in the end, everything is connected. The neck, back, shoulders, even the pelvis. If one link weakens, the rest of the chain follows. That's why paying attention to early symptoms can prevent years of discomfort. He also adds that nutrition and other parts of your health matter too.
With all of this, you want to ensure that the diet is there and the appropriate vitamin levels are there. So monitoring this with your physician is a good idea because this is something that is often overlooked. And then we try and salvage it once we've had years of this buildup instead of routinely getting these things looked at.
To learn more about Dr. Rahul Shah and find more resources on spine health, visit viewpointsradio.org. For more behind the scenes, search Viewpoints Radio on Instagram, X, and Facebook. This segment was written and produced by Amira Zaveri. Our studio manager is Jason Dickey. I'm Gary Price.